Okay, so you're like a kind of nutrition guru.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I have this great coach, but they're more like geared towards bodybuilding.
Uh-huh.
And they were saying to consume like 50 to 60 grams of carbs per hour. And I was measuring out sweet potatoes, right? And I was like,
Okay.
dear God, this is like tier 10 pounds of sweet potatoes. I can't, one,
Yeah.
stomach it, and two, that's kind of ridiculous to
Yeah,
carry.
it's absurd.
So now I'm like, how much do you really consume? It's like probably 20, 30 an hour.
No, I think it's probably closer to 50 or 60 like they were saying. But you need
For
more
reals?
pure, yeah. You need more pure higher glycemic carbs. They can still be healthy, but a sweet potato, too much fiber, it's going to
Oh,
slow it down. That's not, you can't metabolize that much in an hour. So you want to be like
dang.
every hour, I think you can do uh, 60 grams of glucose and like 20 grams of fructose. So that's a total of like 80 grams of carbohydrates per hour that you can
Oh, shit. Okay.
metabolize while you're biking.
So 60 grams of glucose. I mean, I had an amazing caramel macchiato goo gel. Saved me, but
Who that's a Goo brand thing, caramel macchiato.
right? It's not
For
Starbucks
real?
gel.
That sounds awesome. Ooh, Starbucks gel.
Oh my God, they should get in the business.
400 milligrams of caffeine.
But
Yeah, I
yeah, I was
think that
thinking for this like double century and like festive 500, I was like, okay, I'm on this nutrition plan, but shit, like it kind of goes out the window with oh my God, she keeps chewing these cables.
it doesn't totally go out the window. It just kind of more like requires to be modified. And I think nutrition always has to be dynamic like that. Like if you're going to ride a bike for 10 hours, you should be fueling different than if you're lifting weights for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think you always have to like be on it. Maybe the
Mm.
next day you go back to your eating plan. But on that day of that double, like more simple carbs is probably going to put you in a much better place than not consuming them.
I know you were like making those rice cakes last year.
Yeah.
What do you like to eat on the bike when you're doing these like
The the
long
rice
rides?
bars, the rice bars were a game changer for me in my endurance riding. When I
Yeah.
started making rice bars, just really, really simple ones. Sometimes they
Uh-huh.
just have peanut butter and honey inside of them. You know,
Oh,
they're
yummy.
nothing complicated or special. But being able to eat that rice, all those great simple carbohydrates with
Yeah.
some like nutrients, and it's not bad on your stomach. It's not like, eating candy and having your stomach like microbiome
The
be
7-Eleven
obliterated.
century.
The 7-Eleven century.
Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
I
Christmas
do
Day.
I do them all the time. That's like one of my
Uh,
main pit stops when I ride.
yeah, so like you go
But
into a 7-Eleven, what would you grab?
I would grab some gummy candies,
Okay, okay.
maybe a fruit pie,
Oh,
probably like a Gatorade. I know the fruit pies. It's either a fruit pie or a Pop Tart,
okay, okay. What flavor Pop Tart?
like sweet strawberry.
Yeah. But
That's
if they have
that's the
some
jam.
s'mores, oh.
Um, I really like the brown sugar ones for riding.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
Something about that like
I'm all about the
molasses taste.
7-Eleven pickles, and then I'm like, damn it, they don't even have any nutrients. It's just like salt. I should just put salt in my water.
Okay, but before we plug 7-Eleven anymore, rice bars are
Yes.
by far the best way for me to ride.
Okay.
Um I don't know. I have lots of like theories on why certain foods work for certain types of rides, but like
Mm,
typically with me the longer the ride, the more seriously I want to prep for it. So
right.
like I think I can do 3 to 400 miles if I have rice bars, but if I don't think I can do as many miles. So
Mm,
um,
that's a good point.
I really like to prioritize the nutrition quality when it starts to get, the rides get bigger. I don't want to do a triple 7-Eleven century. 300
Right?
miles of only 7-Eleven sounds like a special kind of hell.
I'm like noticing how much nutrition plays into it and like being on a caloric deficit and like
Hmm.
trying to bust out endurance bike rides. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, this is why I was strong and fat and fast. Like,
Hmm. You got fuel. You got energy stored on your body and in it.
oh, I felt so great and powerful. And now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, how do models like just even function? Like,
Well, they don't ride bikes usually.
but like all those like Gucci, like, you know, designer boys, like they ride bikes. They're skinny as fuck.
Probably not as much as we do.
Yeah, they
When
probably
I
do like
ride
one
bikes
hours.
more, when I ride bikes more and I'm good at it and
Mm.
I'm fast, I have more fat on my body than when I don't ride bikes.
Oh God, I have such a vain goal is to like lose body fat.
I mean, it can be there for a reason.
So yeah, that's endurance rides I'd love to do, but like I don't know. I was talking to my coach about it, is like we should really only do them like once in a while
Uh-huh.
instead of just
That's
like all the fucking time like I used to.
that's a really great point.
It's just easier to monitor, like your caloric intake and like your mood levels and your recovery.
That can be a really complicated thing to balance for sure. And I think if you're riding a lot or you're working out a lot in general, I think it can make it very difficult to figure out where you're at and how you feel.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, and like budgeting for it, like
with time or financially?
with budgeting time and calories.
Yeah,
Caloric finance.
sure. Caloric finance. Caloric. That's great.
Like yesterday, I did an awesome like women's ride. I was like tight, and I cut it short.
Uh
It
huh.
was still like a 2.5 hour ride, and then I was like, at the end of the day, I added everything up, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm still in like a 1,500 calorie deficit. Like I
Ooh.
should eat some more. So I was just eating at like 10 at night, and I felt like shit this morning running.
So
But
you're
then
really
it's
like
really calculating, yeah, get down to
you're
like the
no,
grams.
but you like this for now. You're really liking this like highly monitored
It's cool.
tracking thing.
It's like it's like a science experiment.
Yeah,
It's like you're
it's like a
seeing
weird
like
little video game you're playing with yourself.
yeah, like oh, how does this affect my body?
Yeah.
How little can I get away with before I bonk on a ride? Like
Yep.
how does eating a meal at 5 a.m. before I go run at 6 a.m. make me feel?
Yeah. You're very in tune with your body and how nutrition is impacting it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Because
That's
I feel like
amazing.
as cyclists, like it just, it teaches you to just endure and like load up on like gas station food and just kind of
Yeah.
make it
Hmm.
through and have some beers and you're like, this is great.
Yeah. Can't fuck around with your nutrition like that consistently. It's
Consistently,
so
right,
bad for your
right.
body. It's so
It's
bad for
really
your
fun
body.
in the moment, and then like after a while you're just like, oh, wait a second,
Yeah.
I'm 20
It's not
pounds
healthy.
heavier than when I started cycling.
Well, I would worry about that much sugar intake and like your heart and like liver health, and there's a lot of things you have to worry about if you're just eating like garbage food all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I heard it on the radio, so take it for what it's worth, but
better than the internet.
yeah, I don't
You know what
know.
I mean? That's the lowest. I heard this on the internet.
Heard this, they say people were changing their New Year's resolutions from like being like losing 10 pounds to like just being overall healthy and like really like looking
Ooh.
out for their overall well-being.
Oh,
And I'm like,
what a
oh
beautiful,
cool, they're finally not looking at a
yeah,
scale number.
what a
And
beautiful perspective to have.
then I'm like, how do they measure this? I don't know. Take a poll.
Overall health. Yeah, that's a complicated thing. Like, what is overall health?
Stop drinking, like,
Stop drinking.
I guess, or like
Start eating more uh,
walking, not being so
natural foods.
stunted.
Definitely more activity. For most people, more activity is probably it. But even people who work out a lot, and this is, we're
Mm.
going to talk about our goals here in a minute. This
Mm.
is one of my goals leading into next year is to
Yeah.
be better about food.
Oh.
I have been, everything that we've just talked about now that I'm thinking about it,
Uh-huh.
I have fallen victim to in the last 2 months. This is only my fault, but I've been like doing rides and like stopping for just quick food, processed
Twinkies,
sugars, what
gummies, Oreos,
gummies, gummies, or
Pop-Tarts.
Oreos, Gatorades, sodas, chips, bottom of the barrel nutrition. This is bad stuff. And
Wow.
thinking about 2021 and the fitness goals that I have, number one is to get my nutrition back under
Mm.
control. And
You
that's going
just
to
feel so
mean
on point when you do it. You're like, oh my God, I'm Superman.
the the difference is night and day as far as how you feel, I think.
I used to think I had mood swings, but then I just realized it was my sugar intake. That I didn't really need to
Yeah,
see a therapist, that I really just should stop eating 10 pints of ice cream a week
that's yeah,
and quit my ice cream job.
yeah, that must have been so amazing to like cut that out and feel the difference.
Oh, yeah, totally. I went to get a coffee job. I was like, okay, now I'm just hype on coffee, but at least I don't have sugar, so I know like how to
Coffee,
regulate.
yep, yep. I'd rather be drinking coffee than eating sugar. Absolutely.
And then it became an adrenal thing of like overworking
Mm-hmm.
my
Well,
adrenals and then overworking out. And so now that weightlifting and like focus on nutrition, I was like, oh my God, I just feel so balanced these days.
yeah, I need to feel that again because I've gotten to a point where like I'm very fit now, and so I can do a lot of activity, but I really want to take care of my body. So
Yeah, like
better
looking at you right
nutrition.
now, I wouldn't have thought you'd be eating Pop Tarts.
Looking
I'd be
at me,
like, yeah, I'd be thinking like, oh, he's eating chicken and rice and spinach.
yeah, that's. I mean, just because I can like get away with it from a lean perspective, I still
Uh-huh.
don't like I don't want that because it's also about
Mm.
like the feeling of the body and like taking care of it and taking care of my gut microbiome as much as possible. So
So,
nutrition is where it's at. That's gonna be for me.
yeah.
That's gonna mean better, more consistent meal prep, better and more consistent ride
Hmm.
snack prep,
Yeah.
and really, if I can nail those two things, I think I'll be fine.
Ride snack
Shouldn't
prep.
be shouldn't be
That's so
too
real.
complicated.
I'm just gonna do the old like prep a bunch of rice or prep a bunch of sweet potatoes and throw it in
I
a
mean, that's
bag.
yeah. Or you talked about those like baby food things in a bag.
Ooh,
I want to start
yeah.
getting into those. Um, you said there was one with like dates. That sounds so awesome.
Oh yeah, I think spring maybe. Yeah, it's like brown rice, dates, and like some other like apples or I don't know.
So maybe that's some stuff I can buy, and then it's besides that, it's going to be 100% just like making rice bars, and I also really like peanut butter honey sandwiches.
Oh my God, that sounds so bomb.
But it's like you use natural peanut butter, organic honey. You kind of want like more of like a white bread that has like a high glycemic index.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I mean, sometimes I'll use like Ezekiel bread, which is
Mm-hmm.
a lot higher fiber. But yeah, just like little sandwiches like that and rice bars. If I can do that, some fruit,
Mm-hmm.
If I can do that, then my ride nutrition is like boom, back on point, and I know I'm like taking care of my body that way. So what do you think? What do you think your goals will be for the this next year?
Um, well, it is nutrition focused. So January, I guess I'm like currently in a goal of like January 1st, get down to certain measurements on my body.
Okay.
Uh, I guess the most relatable one being like weight, like being 5'5", weighing 120,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't weighed since I was like 14. And I'm kind of like, wow, this is interesting in the sense of like I'm weighing that little, but at 14 I was like just a runner. I was playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like weightlifting. So to
Mm-hmm.
have that little weight with like muscle mass where I could do leg presses more than my weight, I'm like, okay, cool. Like power to weight ratio. So bumping that in turn is like the
Mm-hmm.
bigger like cycling goal is power to weight.
Okay.
So like right now it's at 3.2 watts per kilo is what I last checked on Zwift.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try and bump it up to 3.7.
Okay.
Which kind of just happens if I can maintain the power in dropping this weight, you know.
That's the tricky part. You got to keep the power while you lose the weight.
Yeah, so keep in the gym and I mean soon I'll be able to leg press more than my body weight, but I guess like weightlifting goal would be like squat my body weight more than my body weight probably.
Mm.
Yeah, I've done like weightlift machines a lot, but not really like squat rack stuff, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be a
Now you're doing the
challenge.
real squats.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah.
fun,
Now that the
isn't it?
shoulder's healed, I can't cheat. I guess like I'm not even sure it's a really a goal is I want to host throw some like writing clinics and like handling skills and
Ooh.
um
Tell me more.
yeah, I find there's so many people who are new to bikes out there and like getting into like racing or they're getting into
Mm-hmm.
group rides or whatever and there's just like the simplest things like they don't know how to ride close to people. They don't know,
Mm-hmm.
they're learning how to ride in a straight line, and keep their core
Yeah.
tight, or they're learning how to look behind them and not twitch their handlebars.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's people who like want to go fast and feel what it's like to pace line and draft. And,
Mm-hmm.
they don't realize that they're 2 feet away from the next wheel. They're like
Yeah.
supposed to be like half a foot.
Yeah.
um, yeah, just I feel like you ride enough, you have enough experience that like now is the perfect time to like help others with what yeah, help them out, like enjoy what they
Totally.
love doing and be better at it in the sense of like how they handle their bike, how they feel on their bike, the
Yeah.
confidence.
Help them get to like where you're at.
Yeah, and be better than me, really, in theory.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm gonna throw some like clinics and have people try it out, do it slow around some cones.
Yeah.
Just like take your time with it and then we'll speed it up, like, or we could break out into groups, do like
Okay.
a fast and slow group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been missing that
Yeah.
this year.
Mm.
Just that, like,
Chamois, me too.
I ride in jeans now,
Right, bringing it back.
bringing it back to
Vintage.
denim, vintage. But yeah, like not being around people and uh,
Yeah.
taking like more junior riders like under your wing and
Hmm.
scoping out the person at the group ride and noticing they're struggling and being like, hey, like, has that, have you ever drafted before? And like, they don't even know what it is, you know? And you like teach them like,
Yeah.
okay, well, get up to this wheel and then like do this. And now it's like 30% easier. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't feel like I'm
Mhm.
dying anymore. And I'm like, yeah, this is what it's all about. Like
Yeah. This
giving
is how
riders
you
those
do
moments
long
is just
rides.
something this is how you do even short rides. If you want to be
Right.
competitive, you need to know how to do this. Because it's not
Yeah.
all about fitness, pure fitness.
Yeah, and like sliding next to somebody and falling in place smoothly without
Yeah.
chopping your front wheel.
Oh, you're on like level 3 moves like that.
That's from track though. You have to. Like
Sh-
if you don't do it smoothly, if you don't get that millisecond, that's your whole race. Your whole two
That's
minute
it. That's
race.
it. Because there's so much stuff to learn like that, and it's so much fun and so enjoyable to like share those moments. But like this year has been
Hmm.
very challenging with like how do you get together with people, like what sort of groups are you comfortable in,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
just with
It's like
COVID and
where do you
everything.
meet? How do you meet?
Where do you meet? How do you meet?
What stops are you doing?
Yep. So it's like
Um,
it's more complicated this
so
year. I haven't figured it out. I'm glad you figured it out a little bit.
I feel like people have found their like COVID riding friends too. Like they're like
100%.
sticking to their like clan or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So all your bike goals for next year, um, all of your
Vanity.
bike goals for next year, all your goals do seem like some vanity stuff. Those are still goals though. Those are still goals. Like
Yeah, I still want to throw a bike race in there and
it's interesting. Yeah,
lead a
yeah.
couple
It's
rides.
interesting.
So
It's fun. And then you just want to essentially get faster for track. I mean, that's kind of the
yeah,
reason for the weight loss, right? Is to see what you can do with your track cycling with it.
yeah, it's not even like so much the vanity. It's like first and foremost is cycling.
Hmm.
Second is just being an overall strong human.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then your goals are nutrition focused.
Pretty much nutrition.
Get that straightened
Next
out.
year, I bike a lot. I mean, at this point, like I'm already biking like over 8,000 miles a year.
Oof.
Can I really like make a goal of like, oh, I want to ride more than that? But my
8,000.
goals are to stay, at least where I'm at mileage wise, and then maybe try to get faster. So maybe see if I can do the same amount of miles
Mm,
next year, but in less total time.
yeah,
So basically tracking like my hours.
that
Um,
makes a lot of sense to me. Just being
and
more
I think it's a
efficient.
it's a reason it's something achievable. I would love to do 10,000 miles next year, but just dedicating that kind of time, I don't know if that's realistic. So we'll see where it goes.
Shit, I'm stoked on 5,000 miles. How do you get to 8,000? Ah,
I just ride so much. Just ride and ride and ride. I
man, you
love it.
think there's ever going to be a time you're going to be like, I'm over bikes, I'm burnt out. This is cool,
Mm,
but I'm
who
done.
knows? I mean, that's not my long-term plan,
Right?
but it could happen. And plus, my long-term plan is like 20 years into the future. So maybe I do get burnt out for a year or two in there somewhere. But
Oh snap, 20 years. What the hell's 50-year-old Jeff got planned?
uh, to still be fit,
Okay.
yeah. I like to set like one ridiculously long goal, like 30 years in the future. I think that keeps you grounded in fitness. So I want to still be
Yeah.
fit in 20 to 30 years.
Definitely think you can do that.
That's the goal.
I was listening to Laird Hamilton today, who's like
Hmm.
pro big wave surfer dude.
Yeah, I
And
know all
he's
about
like,
him.
my goal in life is to survive and live.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's so basic and so like true though.
Yeah, so basic. What are you getting in shape for, man? I'm trying to live.
Yeah, right. He's
What?
trying to do some
What?
crazy big wave surfing, but survive it if he crashes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, gauge like oh, am I feeling it today? Am I in the zone for it,
Yeah.
or is it am I not? I'm trying to self-preserve.
Yeah.
Think about
Well,
it.
should we should we wrap this up? I'm really glad that we got to talk about our goals a little bit because
Yeah.
it's like the time of year to be thinking about what do I want to be doing next year. I think this is a good conversation for pretty much everybody to have about like
Mm,
goals with people that you ride with and people that are close to you in your life. Like
mm-hmm.
talking about fitness goals or health goals, nutrition goals, whatever they may be, can be great. I mean, one for accountability, but also just for like support and people knowing like, if your riding buddy was like, oh, like you want to do that, well, like let's start doing these rides together and like,
Mm,
we'll help encourage and motivate each other and like get each other to a new plateau. So like as basic as it may sound, like
mm,
think about the goals, talk about them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and then when you talk, it like solidifies and like encourages others to pursue theirs. And mm-hmm.
That's a great point. I didn't even like the thoughts that you could bring into somebody else's head if they aren't thinking about
Mm-hmm.
goals or where to go or something. Then they might be like, oh yeah, like what do I want to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
where do I want to take this?
Yeah. Me just posting vanity selfies of like, look, I dropped this much weight. People are like, oh fuck, I need to like stop eating this Oreo.
I need to get on my shit. Why are you so hard on Oreos?
Dude, I want them so bad. Keep thinking about
Yeah, totally. Like to motivate like your circle, whatever like bubbles we're in, like to motivate each other and be positive. Like that's like the heart of all this community building that's so amazing in cycling.
it. Mm-hmm.
So like when you want to do something, like share it with people.
Mm-hmm.
That can be incredible to push them even harder. Go David Goggins on them. Start
Well, I
calling
don't know that
people
hard, but
all kinds of motherfuckers.
maybe just posting like, "Hey, going for a run." Hey, posting, "I'm at the gym." Something so simple, people feel motivated by that. They're like, "Damn, you're getting it." I started going to the gym. I'm like, "Bird, hell yeah, go squat that water jug. Just do
Lift
10.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Do
Anything.
10 a day."
I almost kind of like seeing the bare bones workouts like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like you don't have a gym, all you have is your living room and you don't own any weights. How are you going to get after it? And people like will see stories on Instagram and be like, "Oh, I could do that in my living room." And
Mm-hmm.
just like start getting after it.
Just do some body weight squats, some like push-ups, some like ab workouts. Dude, you'd be in better shape from that. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe crushing some people who are 7-Eleven snacking.
You just described like total body health. Well,
Good.
let's keep chatting. Like I said, that week I'll definitely be down in your area at some point.
Cool. Yeah, Jeff, it's nice talking to you. Thanks for getting
Oh,
me thinking about
always.
these goals, and hell yeah, I'm excited to see
Yeah.
what the rest of December 2020 brings.
Yeah. It will bring us together for sure.
Well, until next time.
All right, Smash.
Catch
All
you
right, have
later.
a good one. All
You
right, see ya.
too. Bye, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.